contact and if they have any questions, then it's kind of nice to have those that they will come to the board and hopefully be answered at that level. So thank you.
Great, thank you. That's good. Any other comments at all? Okay, we have a mover and a seconder. If there's no further discussion, call the question. All in favor? And that carries a 7. Thank you, everyone. Staff reports 9.1, 2, and 3, and then we go 9.3.1. Ms. Masula Carlson.
A South Huron Council received the report from Shane Timmermans, Manager of Transportation Services, read tender results 2023 supply and application of dust suppressant on gravel roads, and that South Huron Council accept the tender received from 552976 Ontario Limited and award a contract for the supply and application of 392 flake ton of dust suppressant at $407 per flake ton for a total cost of $159,544 plus HST.
And a mover, please. Moved by Councillor Denemy, second by Councillor Neeb. Any discussion? Councillor Oak, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mayor. And thanks, Shane, for the report. Wow, $100 a ton more than last year, or almost. I guess the question I have is the flake tons or the flake dust suppressant, how does it compare with just regular calcium on the roads nowadays? Any idea on the pricing difference? Because I know the calcium does a better job than the flakes themselves, but for keeping the road in better condition. But just wondering what the price difference might be these days. Any idea, Shane?
Mr. Timmons, any idea?
Through your Mayor Finch, I believe that was it's quite substantially more. I think it was around 500 and some of flake ton.
Thank you.
For the calcium chloride.
Follow up, Mr. Oak. Microphone. Okay, good. Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Okay, thanks very much, Mr. Timmons. So we have a mover and a seconder. If there's no further discussion, I'll call the question. All in favor? And that carries a 7. Thank you. 9.3.2.
The South Huron Council received the report from Shane Timmermans, Manager of Transportation Services, read tender results 2023 provision of crushed granular M for road maintenance, and that South Huron Council accept the tender received from Clarence Carter and Sons Limited and award a contract for the supply of crushed granular M at $13.50 per ton for a total cost of $358,500 plus HST, and FOB for shoulder gravel at $7 per ton for a total cost of $21,000 plus HST.
Mover, please. Moved by Councillor Neeb, seconded by Councillor Oak. Any discussion? Councillor Oak.
Yes, thanks, Mayor. Just a question a question. I just was tracking the last few years and we've gone from about 33 or 34,000 tons of gravel a year, and we're down to 28,000 tons. Quite noticeable on the back roads, gravel roads, that there isn't as much gravel on the roads as there once was. And just wondering the strategy behind the 5,000 or 6,000 ton less gravel. We haven't paved that many gravel roads. The only one that I know that we paved was Corbett, part of it, in the last couple years that weren't already that weren't already paved. So I'm just wondering the reduction in tonnage. What is the strategy? And maybe that'll be something we discuss at our committee of the whole, our state of the infrastructure talks as well. But I'm just thinking if we're reducing the amount of gravel we're putting on and the cost keeps going up between dust suppressant and gravel, we got to start looking at whether there's some other ways that we should be handling some of these gravel roads, I think. But any comments on the reduced amount of gravel that we're tendering?
Mr. Timmermans.
Through you, Mayor Finch. The quantities were reduced due to unit pricing. The unit pricing for this year, before budget taught, like before we were in budgets, everything that I was hearing, it was going to be around $16.50 a ton. We got very fortunate here in 2023 with the pricing that came in.
Thank you very much. Any follow-up, Mr. Oak?
Yeah, my comment is we still need to have our roads in a condition that need to operate and, you know, I guess if 30,000 tons is the right amount of gravel that we should have, we shouldn't cut it down to 28,000 because of the budget. We should be adjusting the budget accordingly to make sure our roads are keeping up a certain level of standard. So that's just my comment on that. And
Okay.
I encourage a fulsome discussion at our committee of the whole meeting coming up. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Any other comments? Deputy Mayor, go ahead, please.
Shane, are we picking up gravel right from what I read here? Are we picking up gravel right from the yard, right from the gravel pit itself?
Mr. Timmermans?
Through Mayor Finch, yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Deputy.
So cost wise, I guess my question is, can we do it for the same price as having it delivered to the yard? I understand we have to reload it, but we don't have to load it in the yard to get it to our Stephen and Osborne yards. I guess that's my only thing. And I know for years we didn't do that, and all of a sudden now we're doing it. So maybe it is a cost saving. I don't know.
Mr. Timmermans?
Through Mayor Finch, there is some cost savings there. Rather than $13.50 a ton, it's $7 a ton for pickup, and then we can bring it directly on site for the shouldering.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, not seeing any. Thank you very much, Mr. Timmons. We have a mover and a seconder. If there's no further discussion, I'll call the question. All in favor? That carries with 7. Thank you. 9.3.3.
That South Huron Council receives a report from Don Giberson, General Manager of Infrastructure and Development, and Alyssa Keller, Manager of Environmental Services, results of 2022 DWQMS internal audit.
And there's a mover, please. Moved by Councillor Neve, seconded by Councillor Oak. Any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? And that carries with 6. Thank you very much. Okay, next item, 9.3.4.
That South Huron Council receives a report from Don Giberson, General Manager of Infrastructure and Development, and Alyssa Keller, Manager of Environmental Services, results of annual DWQMS Annual Management Review.
And as a remover for that, Councillor Denemy, seconded by Councillor Vaughn. Discussion. Councillor Neve, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Finch. So in December, I had the opportunity to sit on the drinking water quality management system review. We reviewed 16 items. There were a few action items, but there were no incidents of regulatory non-compliance. This is my second time sitting through the review, and I can say that the water system's in good hands. There's a lot of processes that are in place by our team to ensure that our water system is safe. And this is again the second time I've sat through it. I'm just always in awe of the amount of work that the team has to carry out. Especially with locates as well on top of their existing workload. So I think we should really be proud of our staff for carrying out the quality of work that they do. We're lucky that we have lots of capacity in our system. We're also very lucky we have a water treatment plant within our municipality, and that we have the facility nearby that we don't actually have to do it ourselves. But again, it was it was great to go through the process, and it's always interesting to find out about how the system works and the checks and balances that are in place. And all of our residents should be very proud. So thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much, Councilor Needham. Thank you very much, Mr. Guybers, and all the work that your staff and yourself do. Any other comments from members of council? Not seeing any. We'll kind of move in a seconder. We'll call the question. All in favor? And that carries with 7. Thank you. Ms. Masula Collison, 9.3.5, I believe.
The South Huron Council receives a report from Don Giberson, General Manager of Infrastructure and Development, and Alyssa Keller, Manager of Environmental Services, recommitment and endorsement of the Drinking Water Quality Management System and Quality Management System Policy Statement. And that South Huron Council confirms their commitment to a quality management system for the South Huron Water Distribution System and endorses the commitment and the endorsement statement as set out in the QMS operational plan. And that South Huron Council authorizes Mayor George Finch to sign the commitment and endorsement statement as the owner's representative as set out in the QMS operational plan.
Can I mover, please? Moved by Councillor Vaughn, second by Councillor Oak. Any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? And that carries a 7. Thank you very much. We'll make sure we get that signed. 9.3.6.
That South Huron Council received the report from Don Giberson, General Manager of Infrastructure and Development, and Ange Barnes, Compliance Coordinator. Read 2022 mandatory reporting of commercial and industrial water consumption information to the MECP.
And is there a mover for that, please? Moved by Deputy Mayor, second by Councillor Vaughn. Any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? And that carries with 6. Thank you. 9.3.7.
That South Huron Council received the report from Don Giberson, General Manager of Infrastructure and Development, and Ange Barnes, Compliance Coordinator. Read 2022 Drinking Water System Annual Compliance Report to the Ministry of the Environment, Conservation and Parks.
And is there a mover for that, please? Moved by Councillor Neeb, seconded by Councillor Denemy. Any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? And that carries with 7. Thank you. 9.3.8.
That South Huron Council received the report from Don Giberson, General Manager of Infrastructure and Development, and Ange Barnes, Compliance Coordinator. Read 2022 Federal Wastewater Systems Effluent Reporting for the Exeter Wastewater Treatment Facility.
And is there a mover for that, please? Moved by Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Oak. Discussion. Councillor Oak, go ahead, please.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to say congratulations on based on the great results that are coming. We're down to annual sampling, which is great news. Anytime we can get down to annual or less than annual is even better. But as far as when there's no acute samples, that's always a good thing. So congratulations.
Thank you. Any other comments for staff? Okay, well, you've done well tonight again, Don. Thank you very much for all your work that you and your staff do. I know we wipe the sweat off your brow. I'm sure you do that every day. Thanks again. Pass on our thanks to all your staff. And we have a mover and a seconder. If there's no further discussion, I'll call a question. All in favor? And that carries with 7. 9.4.1, Ms. Masula Collison.
That South Huron Council receives a report from Justin Finkbeiner, Talent and Workforce Manager, regarding the annual review of the Corporate Health and Safety Policy Statement, and that South Huron Council adopts the Corporate Health and Safety Policy Statement.
And is there a mover for that, please? Moved by Councillor Neeb, seconded by Councillor Denemy. Any discussion? Councillor Vaughn, go ahead, please.
Yes, I'm just wondering if the policy and posting it, if it's posted at all municipality of South Huron facilities.
Ms. Masula Collison.
So I can answer that, and yes, it is. Justin, did you have anything to add to that?
Welcome, Justin.
Through you, Mayor, to Councillor Vaughn. No, we posted at all facilities at front lobbies, as well as our health and safety boards for all employees to have access to. So we make sure that it's out for everyone to be able to read.
Excellent.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Finkbeiner. Any other questions for staff? Okay, you have a mover and a seconder. If there's no further discussion, I'll call the question. All in favor? And that carries a 7. Thank you. Moving right along, 9.4.2, I believe.
That South Huron Council receives a report from Justin Finkbeiner, Talent and Workforce Manager, regarding the annual review of the violence and harassment in the workplace policy statement, and that South Huron Council adopts the violence and harassment in the workplace policy statement.
And is there a mover for that, please? Moved by Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Neeb. Any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? And that carries with 7. Thank you. 9.4.3.
That South Huron Council receives a report from Maggie Delbridge, Acting Treasurer, re 2022 Annual Development Charges Report.
And is there a mover for that, please? Moved by Councillor Oak, seconded by Councillor Denemy. Any discussion? Councillor Oak, go ahead, please.
Thanks, Mayor. Just wondering, hi Maggie, just wondering with the new bill that's coming out, is there going to be any changes to what we can use these reserve funds for? They're like the development charge funds for that are collected, any things that are going to be eliminated that we can use them for?
Ms. Delbridge, how are you? Welcome.
Doing well, thanks, Mayor Finch. Through you, Mayor Finch. Right now, staff are still in the early stages of figuring out what the impact to South Huron is going to be. So this statement is just to complete our annual reporting that we're required to do by the province. It's my understanding that in the next few meetings, there's going to be a report coming forward from Mike, kind of going over the impacts of Bill 23 and what that can mean to South Huron and how we're currently set up.
Perfect. Thank you. Any other questions from members of council for Ms. Delbridge? Okay, not seeing. Thank you very much, Ms. Delbridge. Well done. And we have a mover and a seconder. If there's no further discussion, I'll call the question. All in favor? And that carries with 7. Thank you. Right along 9.4.4, I believe.
That South Huron Council receives a report from Maggie Delbridge, Acting Treasurer, re 2022 Annual Report Planning Act Fees, Section 42.
And is there a mover for that, please? Moved by Councillor Denemy, seconded by Councillor Oak. Any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? And that carries with 7. Thank you. 9.4.5, Ms. Sue Carlson.
The South Huron Council receives a report of Alex Wolf, Deputy Clerk, liquor license, liquor sales special occasion permit, municipal significance designation, and that South Huron Council approves the designation of municipally significant event policy, and that the bylaw be brought back for the required 3 readings.
And is there a mover for that, please? Moved by Councillor Vaughn, seconded by Deputy Mayor. Discussion? Call the question. All in favor? That carries with 7. Thank you. 9.4.6.
That South Huron Council receives a report from Alex Wolf, Deputy Clerk, reappoint members to Court of Revision for the C drain of the FAF municipal drain, and that South Huron Council hereby appoints the following 3 members.
Who would like to be a part of that? Milt. And Councillor Oak, thank you. Councillor Vaughn, would you like to be a part of it? Very well. Yeah, and I can be a part of it too, if that's all right, unless somebody else would like to take that role. No, okay. Milt, would you like to be a part of that? Thanks for volunteering. Okay, so Councillor Vaughn, Councillor Dietrich, and Councillor Oak, am I correct? The 3 of you would like to be a part of that? Very good. Madam, Ms. Masua Carlson.
Okay,
Moved by
I'll just
Deputy-
continue it then. That South Huron Council hereby appoints the following 3 members, Councillor Oak, Councillor Vaughn, and Councillor Dietrich, to the Court of Revision for the above municipal drain to be held on March 20th, 2023 at 5 p.m.
Moved by Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Denemy. Any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? And thank you very much. That carries. Thanks for volunteering, gentlemen and lady. Awesome. And 9.4.7.
That South Huron Council receives a report of Rebecca Msuya-Collison, Acting Chief Administrative Officer Clerk, Staff Council Relationship Policy Review.
And is there a mover for that, please? Moved by Councillor Denemy, seconded by Councillor Neeb. Any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? And that carries a 7. Okay, no notice of motion, Ms. Masua Collison.
There are none.
And item number 11, please.
This is a delegations follow-up from February 6th meeting. There was Mr. Tom Proud from the South Huron Vitality Fund Committee and the Sunset Community Foundation, and Laura Connolly from the Exeter BIA on the South Huron mural final design.
Thank you. And item number 1, any discussion on item number 1, Mr. Prout? Councillor Mead, go ahead, please.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great partnership that we have with the Vitality Fund. I think there's been a lot of positive impact from the investment from the last term. And I just wonder about possibly providing funding during the next budget year. One of the things that I was thinking about was there's a number of priorities we have in our plans. We have our age-friendly plan, the community safety and well-being plan, climate change adaptation strategy, the youth engagement strategy, and I'm sure there's others that I'm missing. And I'm wondering if we were to provide funding and target some of the priorities that are in those reports, that community groups and other agencies can maybe pick up on some of them. Now, obviously, it's not going to hit every single priority or target within the plans, but it could be a stepping stone for community groups and other agencies to get involved in that. And I'm not sure where we're sitting with the Vitality Fund and the priorities that are laid out in the program, but I just thought I'd bring that up and wondered, what could the steps be if that's what council wanted to explore.
Ms. Masuda Carlson, would you have a comment on that?
This could be a discussion to be brought up at the priority setting of council. I know in the past term of council, there was a special purpose committee set up that came up with the existing agreement that has now since expired. So it might be a suggestion at the priority setting, maybe to find a path forward.
That seems to be the consensus of the councillor. Oh, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I think it'd be nice to maybe resurrect that committee and just have a discussion or create a new committee just to have further discussion. But I think the priority setting would be the right time to bring it up. I think anything that we can do as our social media page to help promote the community funds and the benefits of community donating to the funds and the idea that there's a number of families that have donated family funds to this. So if we can get that message out so people are aware that there's, it's great for the community, but there's also tax advantages and stuff like that as well for people. So, anything we can help to promote it would be a good thing too. So.
Great, thank you. So we'll put that to our priorities meeting, Ms. Masuda Carlson.
Certainly can.
Great, thank you. And then item number 2, we know that the mural design comes up in the 16th of March for public discussion. So any other discussion on items number 11.1? Councillor Vaughn, go ahead, please.
Yes, on item 2, I'm beginning to get some email from constituents with their views about the mural, some good ones, some not so good ones, some ones with suggestions for other ways to look at it. And so I haven't actually been able to call these individuals back yet because it's been pretty recent. However, they're not necessarily communications that are addressed to all council members. So I'm really not too clear on whether it's a piece of correspondence to include in the open meeting or not. Just looking for any guidance in terms of should I get the permission from each of these constituents to pass their remarks on.
Ms. Masuda Carlson, can you take that, please?
Okay, I can take that. There is going to be a public meeting on the March 16th from 6:30 to 7:30 at the library. We have also received some correspondence, which we're gathering and forwarding it on to Huron County ECDEV as they are taking lead on this. So if you'd like to just forward it to us to report it, or just to the general admin email, we can pass that on.
Okay, okay. All right, so where it actually ending up is the Huron County Dev Group.
That is
So
correct.
when I'm speaking to these people, I can just basically say, can I send it on your behalf type of thing?
Correct.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay,
Great. Thank you.
great, thanks.
Thank you. And nothing further in 11.1 or 2? Okay, thank you. Move on to new business. Any new business at this point from members of council? Ms. Priscilla Carlson, are you aware of any new business?
I'm not aware of any new business.
Thank you. Mayor and councillor comments and announcements. Are there any announcements at this time? Deputy, go ahead.
I had an inquiry about the new speed spy. So I just kind of want to explain it a little bit as to how it should work. I'm not saying it will work that way, but how it should work. Right now, the roads department has it. They're the ones that are going to be moving it around into different locations. And I guess some of the ask is we get complaints about speeding. So the police don't know whether they're speeding or not until they get some information. So what we're looking for is it either comes to council, because each individual community person can't ask for it to be put here and put there. So it should either come through council or through the police services board to talk to the police and just and our roads department and ask them if they would put it where it is and then get the information back to the police. So I don't know where council wants to deal with this, but I think that's probably the best way right now till we see how it's going to work.
Okay.
Thank you.
Comments at all? Councillor Vaughn, go ahead, please.
Yes, I think initially having it come to council in terms of what the process may be from the roads department and just to get a flavor for what's being asked around. I do know that I've got and always have had certain constituent and areas where speed is a concern. And so some are waiting kind of to see how the spy might help us out. And so I would appreciate being in the loop, at least initially, till I understand how we're going to do things from a process and communication amongst ourselves perspective.
Great, thank you. Nothing further? Very well, okay. Councillor Dietrich, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Is this just in the villages or just all in general or what?
Deputy, do you want to explain that?
Thank you. No, it's wherever it's needed, wherever it wants, they want to put it up. It works as a, not only a speed spy, like to tell the speeds and all that. It also works as a counter for vehicles going by back and forth. So I guess the roads department will have to decide where they want to put it. And if there's a request comes up, then they can move it to that area.
Okay, thank you. Good, okay, nothing further on that. Okay, we can move to communications. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Councillor Oak.
Yeah, thanks. Just want to thank the Winterfest committee and staff for the events that were held yesterday. There was a lot of people at different things, and I know I was fed well at the Legion in the morning, and the day before I actually attended the Grand Bend firefighters breakfast that they had, and they had over 500 served at that event as well. So so there's a lot of local activities going on, which is nice to see things getting back to normal again. So I just want to thank staff and the committee for organizing the event yesterday. So
Great, and I was at both of those events also, as well attended. Deputy.
Sorry, one thing I did forget. I'd like to congratulate our council member, Councillor Vaughn, on becoming the chair of the ABCA.
Congratulations. You can turn your mic on to say that.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Good job. Anything else? Councilor, go ahead.
And just one last thing, I said last meeting that I would just give a quick update on Roma. Because I didn't have my notes that night, but so I'm just going to do one of the workshops that I attended. I'm not sure if everybody got an email that had the slide decks that were at the different presentations that were given, but those are available in one of the Roma links that they had sent. But the one they didn't have was the one I'm going to talk about, is on asset management. It was presentation that was done by elected officials and staff from the 3 different municipalities, and they talked about their strategies with asset management for better outcomes and strengthening council decision making. And so then they had the elected officials' opinion, and then on a question, and then the staff's opinion on a question, and they alternated back and forth. And so the first question to elected officials were, how does council use recommendations of the asset management plan? And the comments were that to be adaptable, road needs may change due to different timings or different events, balance expenditures with risk, and they rely on staff to make a lot of the recommendations. Modernization and FCM grants to hire an asset management person. A lot of them took advantage of that process. They look as a municipality as a whole, not wards. 2 of them had ward systems, and the other one was different, but they look at it as a municipality. Asset management plan needs to be a priority and actionable. So that was the elected officials' opinion on that question. The next question was, how would you like council to use the plan? And this was the staff comment. And modernize reserves to be proactive. Start using asset management plan and referring to it during the budget. Listen to staff. Don't cut transfers to reserves. Use asset management to manage expectations. And so that was the answers to that question. There was a few others, but that's how fast I could write. So the next one was, what conversation should council and staff have on asset management plan? And this was the elected officials. Asset management plan should drive the budget process. Grants need to be applied for if asset is needed. Staff not to be afraid to bring up items, and have shovel-ready projects ready for grant applications. So the next question was how to build asset management knowledge for all, and this was the staff. Have a champion, someone on council and a staff person. Leverage training tools. Most are free on the different platforms. FCM readiness scale. There's a readiness scale on that FCM has that they recommended. An asset management lens used to review projects. So, and then one last question that I'll go through is staff again. Best way to ensure adequate investment spending on assets. A list of assets, and many are still saying they're still finding assets that they didn't know that they had. Collect data and use it in all decisions. Fine line in replacing existing assets versus assets for new growth. A risk matrix across all divisions, and do a 10-year capital plan. Needs versus wants. So to summarize that workshop, there was some next steps that talked about including core assets and things like that. But it just made me appreciate how far along we are in our asset management plan in South Huron with our staff and council's support. But it just made me realize how far we have to go yet in keeping up with our shortfall in the asset management world. So, but it gave me some pride in knowing that in some of the discussion that held in this workshop, we're ahead of the bell curve on a lot of items. So just that's my comments on that session. It was a good session. So thank you.
Great, thank you. And we are very much light years ahead of many other municipalities across the province, and that's because our staff have taken the initiative to get us to that point. So kudos to staff again for that. Great. Anything else from Mayor and Councilor comments and announcements? Okay, not seeing any. We'll move on to the communications. If you want something pulled, please say pull.
14.1. 14.2. 14.3. 14.4. 14.5. 14.6. 14.7. 14.8. 14.9.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Vaughn, 14.1. Oh, microphone, sorry.
I went ahead and booked myself into FCM, period of May 25th to 28th. It's a 4-day conference in Toronto. Yeah, primarily because I didn't want to miss the opportunity to do the great hotel shuffle, which there's glitches with that, but nonetheless, that's another issue altogether. So just like to bring that up tonight to suggest to council that I'd like your approval that I should go and represent South Huron. And if not, this is a good time to bring it up.
Yeah, and Councilor Neeb, go ahead.
Yep, no, I'd like to move that if possible.
And also, I'd like to go to that also because it's in Toronto, so it's easier to get to if anyone else is. I'm not sure if anyone else is interested in going. No, did you include that in the motion then? Myself and
Yeah. Oh yeah,
okay.
that sounds great. Yep.
All right. Any other just seconder with that? Councilor Oak, and any further discussion? Anyone else wants to go? Okay, call the question. All in favor? And that carries with 6. Thank you. Good. Thanks very much, Councilor Vaughn. And you'll book that final booking there.
Yes, we will take care of that.
Perfect. Thank you. And then moving on to 14.3, the Canada Act information. Deputy Mayor and I have been at County Council. This came through the council there from lady from Elgin County. And so we supported that at the county level. And I'm wondering if we could maybe do something here at this end, Madam Clerk. Would you have any idea what we could do with that?
Well, council could provide the County of Huron a letter of support if that's something that you choose to do.
Yeah. Would somebody move that? Councillor Neeb, and is there a seconder for that? Councillor Dietrich, question, Councillor Dietrich?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Do we get anything out of that, or how did that, where did it ever get off the ground, or where's it going from here?
As far as the actual.
Right.
recommendation,
Right.
We're just supporting what county already supported to show that solidarity.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, just a question. South Huron was a willing host. And we've received some government funding because of that. And there's still some to come. I don't believe we've got all the funding that was. So if we are to support this, how does that, because it's sort of going against our willing host support that we gave last term of council to supporting this. So I just want to know that sort of, when I read this, it's going against the gist of what we approved previously, or that's my take. I don't know if that's the case. Looking to the mayor or to our CAO, what their thoughts are on that.
So this is more of a minimum distancing setback for residential. This doesn't negate somebody opening a store up at all.
But we were supporting a greenhouse that was going to turn into cannabis just outside of a residential unit or subdivision last time because it had come, and it falls under the agricultural products that are grown under Ag Canada's terminology of agricultural products. So I guess I'm just cautioning us before we make a decision like this. How does that affect what we've already agreed to as a council? I think a lot of the Huron County initiative was because of the mess that they've got going on in Vanastra. We don't have that situation here. So I just don't want us to get our waters muddied because of an initiative that other parts of the county have that we don't have today. So that's just my comments.
Ms. Collison, would you have a comment on it at all?
Well, if council would like a report brought back to see if there is any effect from the willing host, we could add that. This particular resolution right now has a mover and a seconder. So that would have to be dealt with, and then a staff report could be brought back if that's a council decision.
Okay, Councillor Vaughn, go ahead, please.
Yes, I'm not even sure what the motion is. I have a sense the motion is that we are looking to support the Huron County, but I share some of Councillor Oak's concerns in terms of doing that. This, from what I've read so far, and I didn't realize we were going to have a motion on the table tonight. Would have read it a little more thoroughly, but anyway, kind of talks about how some of the experiences they're having up in Huron County have to do with bylaws and zoning bylaws not being adhered to that are already been established. And I'm not even aware that we have any bylaws or zoning bylaws that deal with this specifically. So I'm thinking in terms of how do we, if we're supporting it, I don't even know how we can police it. Because if we don't have a zoning anything, then we can't get a bylaw officer involved, and we don't have any teeth to do anything, really. So what are we actually supporting? So I'm just thinking a little premature in terms of getting ready to vote on that. I'd rather see a staff report about, do we have a problem that we should be looking into? That's just sort of to give you an idea how I would likely vote on that motion.
Deputy, you had something?
Can we defer the motion or just defeat the motion? Where do we go?
You can defer the motion because you have a move and a second. You could defer the motion to an items for discussion arising from previous meetings and a staff report to be brought back. Could be a new motion to defer to a future meeting. Or council can defeat the motion.
Or does the motion want to be pulled?
Yes, there's a mover and a seconder on the motion, and the motion was that South Huron Council provide a letter of support to the County of Huron.
Councillor Deep?
I'll just give my perspective, and then I'm fine with either getting a report or deferring, but my reading of it was requesting the province to take a look at minimum distance setbacks and to look at having the municipality take a role in approving properties used for the production of cannabis for medical purposes by a designated person. That's my reading of it. Is it's I don't think it's necessarily going against the act. I think it's it's asking for some regulation around a number of items, but that was my reading, but I think it might be worthwhile to have staff maybe come back with information. We don't want to, I agree, we don't want to muddy the waters unintentionally, and maybe this is a matter that needs to be addressed to during the official planning process. I'm wondering if that is going to come up during that. So I'm okay, as I think I believe I moved it. I'm willing to defer or ask for a report.
Councillor Oak, go ahead.
Yeah, and the only reason I bring it up is because of our willing host, and I don't know what the agreement said. At the end of the day, what we've agreed to with the province and accepted money from the province. So that's where I would like to see a staff report coming back to make sure that we're on side. That's the only reason I brought it up. So yeah.
Councillor Deep, anything further?
Yep, I can pull my motion and add, unless we need a motion to ask for the report.
Yes, because the motion is right on the table now.
Okay.
So it'll be a motion to defer.
Okay.
Or call the question and see where it goes. Yeah.
Okay, so there's no motion to defer at this point, is there? So we'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, that's defeated. Very well. Anything further on that? Councillor Oak?
So now do we need a motion to bring back a staff report, or just written, or like just a recommendation, or what would be best?
I think it would be best to have a motion to bring back a staff report, providing information on how this report affects the municipality willing host.
Make that motion.
So moved. Is there a seconder? Councillor Deeb? And are you prepared, Ms. Basua-Colson? You're caught up?
Okay.
Okay, I'll call a question. All in favor? And that carries with 7. Thank you. Okay, moving right along. 14.5. There's an invitation for the Huron County Federation of Agriculture invitation. Deputy, comment.
Yes, I think I would like to attend that, if that's okay.
Yeah, and I received the invitation also, so I would be attending. None, somebody else wanted to attend also. Okay, Councillor Oak.
If either of you, it looks like there's for 2 representatives, so if either you can't, let me know. I would try to make it if.
Yeah, very good. So Deputy and myself, do you want to make that motion then?
Yes.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Dietrich. Discussion? Another question, all in favor? And that carries with 7. Thank you. All right, that's it for that. Recommendation 14 after 14.9 there.
The South Huron Council received communication items not otherwise dealt with.
And is there a mover for that, please? Moved by Councillor Neeb, seconded by Councillor Denemy. Any discussion? Councillor Oak?
One thing I forgot to mention is this Saturday coming up is the coldest night of the year walk. And so the last I just looked here on their website, and as of right now, still pulling up here, they've raised over $28,000 towards their goal of 41,000, and there's 105 walkers, 18 teams so far. So just want to promote that walk, and the funds stay locally for the South Huron Connection Center. So just want to make sure that everybody's aware of that. So.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Neeb, go ahead.
Sorry, when you said teams, you reminded me of something that's going on this week too in town at the Legion. The Exeter Elementary is holding their annual trivia night. I think this is the first one since pre-COVID. So the Cultural Collective has been helping out, coming up with questions. So it'll be Friday from 7:30, I think, to just past 9. And I think they're 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 filled, they're at capacity. They've got about 17 or 18 tables, and it's usually a good time if you're ever able to attend the extra elementary trivia night. It's good fun. So
Great, thank you very much. There's nothing further. Did we read that resolution? I believe we did.
Yes, the
Yes.
South Huron Council received communication items not otherwise dealt with, moved by Councillor Neeb and seconded by Councillor Denemy.
If there's no further discussion, I'll call a question. All in favor? And that carries with 7. Thank you. No closed session, therefore no report from closed session. Bylaw 17.1, Ms. Masuda calls.
The South Huron Council gives first and second reading to bylaw 10/2023, being a bylaw to provide for the C drain of the Pfaff Municipal Drain 2023 in the municipality of South Huron.
And is there a mover for that, please? Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Denemy. Any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? And that carries with 7. Confirming the bylaw.
The South Huron Council gives first, second, and third and final reading to bylaw 11/2023, being a bylaw to confirm matters addressed at the February 13th, 2023 orientation meeting and February 21st, 2023 council meeting.
And is there a mover for that? Moved by Councillor Oak, seconded by Councillor Vaughn. Any discussion? Call a question. All in favor? That carries with 7. Thank you. 19.
That South Huron Council hereby adjourn at 7:09 PM to meet again on March 6, 2023 at 6 PM or at the call of the chair.
Moved by Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Neeb. Any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? And that carries with 7. Thank you, everyone. And